Another day, another cold day. I just heated up from about 21 to 46. I don't know how long that'll last. And of course all the lathe metal work is probably still about negative something. Yes. Anyway, I made a start here and I thought, oh, I haven't got the camera set up. I've got to part off 6 of these little fellas, and when I've got part the way through on parting, I'm just using this square file to get a double chamfer, save any tool change. See if that's enough. Yeah, I just want to break the edge, little chamfer. Okay, let's try and get this one off. Oh, I have to remember this camera angle. I'm trying yet another one, and to keep my hand out of the way. Anyway, there's the first one. These are coming out at 485, I think. No, 475, and that gives me, when I bore out for the cap screw, it'll leave me about 80 thou at the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm not going to bore you with all of these. God, what a mess. What a mess. I'm going to, I think the easiest thing here, no, not the easiest, but I think what I'm going to do is use that large centre again, which of course I put away. I think I'll have to leave that in the chuck. Yeah, just to give me a smidgen of chamfer for the live centre. I could go straight in here, but this is a better way. That's enough there. Now then, that's the end of the cut. So I'm going to bring the dial gauge back and let's zero it there. So we've got 90 thou for the cutoff, plus so I'm going to go total 475. Unlock the carriage would help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 475. Lock the carriage again, and just bring this center back in here. Okay, let's go for the second one. Just hoping I've got this right. Okay, check everything. Alright, here we go again. just get the chamfer done, which I must remember before it drops off. I've got chamfer there, so I want to get some on here. Let's bring the file around. Give up trying to save the chips on this, going everywhere. Alright, we'll finish that parting on there. I think we've got enough chamfer. Yep, it'll do. It's still frustrating that this isn't running absolutely true. It's not the best of finishes I've seen from a parting tool, but I guess I can put up with it. Right, last one. Okay, that's number 6. Don't think I want to go much further. Oh, I tell you what. that was pretty. I don't know whether you can see that. You probably can't. That's just about the end of that. I might as well finish that. Take that a bit further. Yeah, you won't see there, but it's just the end of the drill. So my 3 inches was just about, was barely enough. Alright, that gets those together. So there we are, that's 6 of the little devils. I think they'll all get a circular rub down on some 600 grit later, just to get rid of the little bit of tooling marking from parting off. But yeah, fairly pleased with those. So we've got to take them to the next stage, or maybe even work on the T-nuts. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do next. Same old problem, isn't it? Haha. Another day, another freeze your nuts off, and we'll carry on and try and get a bit more done. The last phase, doing the parting off of the brass buttons, that was a bit long, I'm afraid. I'm just going to add a little bit to this, and then I'll probably put the video up as part 2. All I'm doing here, using the same method as the original guy did, and I'm just going to tap this piece of aluminum for 8 by 1.25, which will give me something to mount the cap screw in, and then we'll put it in the four-jaw and offset it for an eccentric cut. So this is really just an incidental before I get back to the buttons again. Let's get this sorted out. Eight should be enough, I think. I'm just seeing whether I need any more. I know I've gone a bit large, but I don't need a perfect thread. This is not too critical. This is pretty much sort of down and dirty stuff, as I often say. This is where the spindle handle is very useful. Alright, let's see if the bolt will go in. Alright, I think we'll try this. I'll just put the Allen key in so I can get a hold on it. There's not that much resistance actually. Now what I want to do there is just make a, oh, I've got a stuck Sharpie. I just want to make a mark on here and face off so that I leave a slight relief back here for when I'm cutting the bolts. Now that's eased off anyway. Alright, let's come in about there. I think we'll use the stop on the cross slide. Just give ourselves some relief. I think that'll do. And just give me some space to run out with the tool. It's still tightening up again. Considering the thread is slightly undersized. Right, well we're going to, in fact I may finish up cutting into the aluminum slightly when we do a cut on the bolt. I'm not too worried about that. This gives me somewhere to run out with the tool on the main area. Alright, I'll switch to another view in a minute. Okie dokie, right. We'll do these bolts later, and I think I might even take 5 or 10 thou off the top so that the amount of material left at the base of the buttons is slightly more generous. I'm allowing 80 thou at the moment. I'll probably stretch that to 100. Not that it's all that important. Anyway, let's have a recap. I've rattled on for ages and not really got much done, have I? But this is the plan. In order to do the buttons, which I'm going to put the flats on first, which I think is better, because I'm not going to be able to stack them up together very easily once I've put the milling cutter down. So what I've got here is a piece of tatty old 3/4. We'll drop that down into this very beaten up 3-jaw, and then tighten the jaws, and then we'll set that up on the milling table and take a plunge. So I leave myself the 80 or 100 at the bottom. So once one of those is set up for centre, the other 5 shouldn't be too bad. Anyway, the next job I'm going to try and get done is get these buttons ganged. I haven't got any 8mm studding. This is 3/16. It's very, very close. So although there's a very slight slackness, I'm not going to worry about it, because the reason I have... oh, I dropped a nut. Talk amongst yourselves. God, yeah, I'm always dropping stuff. Right. So what I'm going to do here is tighten this up, and I'm on this piece of aluminum here just to have basically a flat surface. I've done that up pretty tight, so I'm going to put a straight edge. I'm just looking at this against a light background, and that looks pretty good. So we'll put these in the vise, and there I'm going to be taking a slight chance, because if I sit these on these pseudo parallel steps, I'm gripping just below centre, but being brass, and hopefully won't mar them too much, I think I'm going to get enough grip on there. And for the cut, I think instead of using the milling cutter, I got this wee little fly cutter. It's the smallest fly cutter I've got, and I think that'll do alright. And I'm going to take these down to a flat of approximately 5/8, I think will be enough. Do one side, flip it over, set it up, rinse and repeat. Alright, that's where we got to at the moment. So that's just a recap, and then we'll move over to the mill soon. Well, I haven't had much mill practice in recent times. Still got a lot to learn on this one, but I'm going to try and put some flats on here, on these buttons. I think I've got enough grip on that vise. We'll soon find out, won't we? I haven't done the math yet to see what depth of cut I need. So I'm going to take it bit by bit to see how it works out. Chips will go everywhere, of course. I'm just using the Quill DRO, and see where we go. Suck it and see time, as they say. Alright, I've got a touch there, so I'm going to 0 the DRO, and I'm going to come down 30. Basically, I'm still experimenting here. I'm going to use the same direction and see how it looks. Let's just measure that and see. I've just reseated in the vise just to check. I think I was out by a smidgen, but we're okay now. So I'm going to take another 25. I mean, these are tiny cuts, I appreciate that. It's just steady as she goes. And I think, roughly speaking, as I said before, I didn't do the math, but I think we've got to come down about 100th thou to get a 5/8 flat, so that's what I'm looking for. So at the moment we've put in, oh wait a minute, 30, let's dial in 55, 30, yes, that's the 25, we'll see where we go from there. I won't bore you with all of this. Obviously we're getting a bigger cut now because of the depth, so I'm not sure what the camera's going to show on that. It's a bit experimental, but we've got to, at the moment we're up to, see what it works out at. What did I say we were before? Actually, we're very close to what I want. I may go a little bit further, but I don't want to get too close to the centre hole. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with that and I'll come back when we're getting a bit further. Alright, I saved you a bunch of boredom there. I've just been taking small cuts. I got down to 10 thou and then 5 thou towards the latter stage. Feeling my way. We're on 110 on the DRL on the quill. So my rough estimate of 100 probably wasn't so far off actually when you think about it. Now this is where I get in the way. Let's just check here. Let's check up at this point. Got things pretty equal. There we are, we're virtually on the money for 5/8. So I'm going to turn that round now. I'm reasonably pleased with that. One thing I forgot. I got a frog in the throat today. One thing I forgot on the first pass or two, I didn't carry on to finish and get my reverse cut. Something is often forgotten about with the fly cutter when you're doing a linear like this. So I'm going to turn this round and set it up for the other side. Wasn't too happy with the vice grip last time. I got away with it. What I've done here is I've put a piece of scrap aluminum at the bottom, so I've actually got a slightly better jaw bite on here. The aluminum is hardly a parallel, but I'm going to see if I get a fairly even cut, and I'll set 0 and then we'll carry on from there. Alright, set 0 there. We'll put in I'll just take a 10 cut and see where we go from there if we're level. The backside cut doesn't really feature much until I'm taking a bigger bite. I did carry on there just to see. It looks as though we're not quite level, so I'm going to have to reset that. Anyway, I'll get that tweaked and come back at the end stage. Well, more experimenting here. Couldn't really see the cutter very well from the other angle. I'm just trying this. I'm actually mounted to the table. And we may well get vibration, so if we do I apologise in advance, but we'll see if it'll work. I'm getting close to finished on this one. Taking it very slow and easy. I'm just putting on 15, which should get me within 10 thou of where I want to be. And we'll see what we can get for footage on this. curry on past and let any back cut finish, which is always very minimal, but it does finish more consistent. Okay. Let's come back and see what we've got for measurement. Mind you, as I said before, and it's not really an excuse, but this is hardly super critical. We really just need a flat on each side of these buttons, and as long as they're close. I've just made a scratch along the top of that. That is good, isn't it? Anyway, we've got one more cut to go yet. Yep, that's a 32nd shy of 5/8, so I don't mind if it's slightly over. I'm going to do the same as the other side and take it down to, it'll be a total of 110. So I'm going to finish that off. I'll probably speed this up and save you the waiting time. There we go. I'll check that again and then hopefully we can take it out. Alright, the light. Maybe there's a bit of a problem with the light because of the bright light behind, but anyway, there it is. We'll take this apart and get the individual buttons out. And we'll put a little chamfer on the either side of each flat, just with a file, clean it up, and then we'll see about setting up the 3-jaw. Get a plunge with the 3/8 end mill, well, hopefully 3/8. It may well be actually. I ought to do the bolt heads first, and we'll see what happens on that. Well, I think I'm going to call it a wrap actually, just for the moment, and put this lot together as part 2. There's the eccentric. But I offset it by a millimetre, which is what this other guy had done, but to be honest, it's a little bit too generous. I'll show you what I mean. I'll take the bolt out. Well, there's the bolt. You see, it's well and truly eccentric. A bit like me, really. Anyway, the wall thickness here, from the thickness left to the hex, is only about 35 thou. And in order to have a good counterbore, for this to be a good fit, obviously I've got to use a fixed size end mill, and I'm reckoning to use 3/8. But if I take this down to 3/8, I'm going to virtually break into the hex pocket. So I think I'll have to get another one or two of these. Obviously the different makes, manufacturers, you get different size heads, I suppose, small dimensional changes, and a millimetre might have been alright for him, but 1 mil's too much. So I think I'll get another couple of spare bolts and go for about 0.75, 0.8 of a mil. So anyway, I'm going to call a halt on that, and before I deal with these in the mill, which I must get right, I'll have a bit of a think on that and get another spare bolt or two. The other strange thing actually, which I haven't quite worked out, the picture that he showed of his stuff, everything looked very symmetrical. And I didn't see the underneath to see whether his clearance hole was on centre or not. but something's got to be off centre, which means for the bolt to work we'll have to do a counterbore plunge offset from centre. That's how it looks at the moment anyway. I hadn't really thought that through very fully, so we'll come back to that, and for the time being, thanks for your patience and thanks for watching.